Work session Monday, January 4th to order. Invocation given by Mr. Kenner and the pledge of allegiance given by Mr. Smith.
Almighty God, we give you thanks and praise for your great goodness towards us. We ask you to be with the mayor and council of the city of Scottsboro as they go about the public business this evening. Lead, guide, and direct them in all that they do. These things we ask in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is to present job descriptions, and before she comes up, Mr. Kenner, have you had a chance to look?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Dixon has been working on formalizing certain part-time and seasonal jobs and establishing descriptions that have not existed in the past. By the way, this doesn't have to do with anything with that, but she's working on one for the city attorney. There's never been one there either. So these are basically formalities where she is getting everything in the HR department properly.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Dixon on these job descriptions?
Yeah, I do. What do you need on these years for a job description for these people?
They haven't had one in the past.
How do they know what to do?
Yvonne has a list of job duties, but they're not approved by the city council.
Yeah, I guess I asked why. I mean, everybody in the city, we approve everything, normally, including part-time, I know school patrol ladies, all this stuff, but I just wonder why all of a sudden this came up, I guess.
This was the first time that it had been brought to my attention that there were no part-time job descriptions.
So there is something in writing about what they should be doing, correct?
Yes.
And I would like to have a copy of what that is, just to compare with what they're asking.
Sure.
Okay.
And are these all concerning the recreation fund?
Yes, sir, they are.
And how many people does this affect?
All of our part-time, seasonal people, some of them are part-time annual.
So would this be like
Probably 40.
people at the concession stand, off the hill?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes, that's what it is.
Do we have any other departments that have part-time people that don't have a job description?
It's my understanding that there is not an ADA compliant job description for part-time positions within the city. Now, they are, some of they're not covered under our personnel policies, but to have this ADA compliant, I've taken the job duties that are in effect that Yvonne uses, and I have put them in an ADA compliant job description.
So we've been at high risk for a number of years, possibly. If
I would
something
say
were to happen,
so.
we would be in trouble. But what I would like to ask if you would, if it's okay, that we go through every department and see if they have part-time people, and if they do, make sure they also have the same benefit of all this information.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I'm working on that. I just, this was the first department that I was going to present tonight.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Aaron? Thank you. We'll place it on next week's agenda. Would that be just for the ones that we have in our packet? Correct, yes.
To do what we
That's very good.
These
So
descriptions.
we're not gonna, we just got this today. Can we not review it one time and maybe talk about it at one more work session,
Yeah.
and then, I mean, you look at it, it's pretty big. I don't know, I haven't read it.
Yeah, we can put it off till the 25th.
I
We'll have a work
just like,
session.
maybe we have some questions we could ask. Or if you want to do it, I guess we could do it prior to last vote that night. But a lot of times the department heads don't show up for the council meeting, so.
The 25th, the council, meeting, a work session. We'll put it off till then. Yes.
And if you're gonna put it off another work session, I can have the other job descriptions prepared as well.
How many departments is that, or additional?
I don't know, I'm going to look at every department, and if there's any part-time person, I know just off the top of my head, the airport attendant is a part-time job. Again, the city has a list of job duties, but there's nothing with the language that's on if you'll go through your job descriptions, the language that's on the back side of that, on that last page. If that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's
Can you
it.
do that? Okay.
Thanks, Aaron.
Okay.
Next item is to discuss the lodging tax. Mr. Wallensburg, do you want to talk about?
Mr. Miller and I have been having numerous discussions. I have put in your packet some of the documentation that we looked at that were the basis of some of those discussions and what some other municipalities are using those dollars for. One of the things that we talked about, I guess it was brought up that the existing lodging tax goes to the general fund, but when we started looking at that, and I kind of felt like the inference there was that those dollars aren't being used for tourism. But when we look at the apportionments that we give to the Chamber of Commerce, to the Heritage Center, Council on Aging, things of that nature, we saw that a major portion, if not most of those dollars, are being directed towards tourism. You have in your packet there some grant applications. One of the things that municipalities have done is set aside a portion of those dollars that come from lodging to promote events where organizations can apply for partial funding for events. They can have matching funds and use those dollars in some of the ways that are listed in that documentation. I've also included there a feasibility study from another municipality that I felt like made some very valid points that really hit home with me. One of that, when someone from out of town comes to our community, until they pull out their wallet and spend money, they're just a visitor and not a tourist. So if we're not providing an opportunity for those people to spend their dollars and generate tax revenue, we're not accomplishing the ultimate goal. So Mr. Miller and myself had a conversation of making sure that commercial development was in place, so that when we do attract those visitors, that they have the opportunity to come to us and spend their disposable income in our community. Mr. Miller, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, basically, if we were looking at increasing the tax, the lodging tax, we wanted to make sure that we had every opportunity to reinvest that back into the areas that generate the lodging tax. That's basically where the tourism grant came in, that, basically some of that can be applied to, like a hotel, just as the example we had to apply for new brochures, things like that. Events could access that money, they could apply for a grant. The Redcom could apply for a grant to host a tournament if they needed seed money for a tournament, things like that, that basically would reinvest in overnight tourism. That was kind of the basic idea of the tourism grant. And then basically reinvesting in the commercial aspect of it. Once they're here, if there's nothing for them to spend their money on, obviously we lose that money and there's no point. So we're trying to look at other ways that we can reinvest that money to help generate the commercial side of it, whether that be revitalization to encourage commercial growth or beyond that. And that's basically, I think, the main 2 points that we looked at. Anyone have any questions?
I do want to point out one thing also. According to some documentation from the state of Alabama, tourism revenues from the year 2013 to 2014, which was the latest numbers available, the North Alabama region had seen a 7.2% increase from $2.1 billion to $2.26 billion. What I thought was interesting was the employment status for the state of Alabama in tourism had grown by 2.1% statewide. Jackson County had actually seen a 6.9% decrease in jobs related to tourism. So, as far as the county goes in employment, we seem to be going in the wrong direction. I can make full documentation on some of the research material that we've been perusing available to all the council members, Mayor, Mr. Campbell.
That'd be great. I know it had been discussed, what, 2%? Is that kind of what y'all have been looking at? That was just a suggestion of Mayor that I believe a 2% increase. So that's just what we were looking at, which would roughly put us at approximately $40,000 from what we collected last year, maybe a little over that a year, or per percent.
2% would, yeah, per
Yeah.
The 2% would be
80,000.
80,000.
Right, 1% would be roughly that. If we were to split that up or, allocate that. We can look at that also on the 25th. Some more. Next one is the resolution supporting remote sellers legislation, marketplace fairness. Mayor?
It's in your package, you have a letter from Ken Smith, who is the director of the League of Municipalities, asking us to pass a resolution supporting the House bill pertaining to the Remote Transactions Parity Act, which in other words is the Internet Sales Tax. I think it was brought up a few weeks ago about how we were losing money through that. So members of the 5th Congressional District, the mayors led by Tommy Battle, he's asking us to, along with the state, to adopt this resolution for you to look at. And if you want to do that, I will get it forwarded to them. Apparently it's going to be coming up before Congress, and he's looking to garner support across North Alabama from the municipalities.
No, the way I read the resolution calls upon the Congress to do this.
We'll put it on next week's agenda. Thank you, Mayor. Any questions on that for him? Ms. Morgan? Come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart, council members, Mr. Mayor, members of the public. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Just what I want to talk to you a little bit tonight is about the quorum of last week's meeting. Of course, you know, it was the consideration of the capital projects. In consideration of the capital projects, there was a motion placed forward, and actually, there's no motion placed forward. It died for a lack of motion. Mr. Smith mentioned that. Of course, unfortunately, was never, Mr. President, you didn't declare that the issue dies to a lack of motion. And of course, then you went right on to appointing committees for that. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying that there was nothing else on the agenda other than that area. There was no motions that came forward, but yet you went on to appoint the committees. It'd be my position as a concerned citizen, I think it should declare null and void. Now, of course, I had a discussion with Mr. Kenner about this before the meeting.
I've already told Mr. Morgan that I believe he is absolutely wrong on the parliament procedure aspect.
And Mr. Kenner did say that, well, maybe, and I suggest in a letter here, that that you post the rules of order to the website, and that's been agreed upon. There's going to be the rules of order. But nonetheless, you can't get away. You know, we, the people of this town deserve the best that you can give us. And it is the normal course of events that when a motion is, or when an issue, when an issue is brought forward and there's no motions, it'd be a declared situation that where, hey, the motion dies. And then also normally, it's been my experience, and I've attended a lot of these meetings, the city and the county, that issues, once a motion or it dies, lack of a second, or it can't be brought forward, that it be later addressed as an agenda item on the council agenda or a commission agenda, whatever it may be. Of course, that didn't occur in this case. Now, there's a second item I want to present too, and that is the financial disclosures. The bond issues that's been presented by the mayor, I'm not about to sit up here and say that those are not valid issues. They probably are. The Heritage Center, you know, the historic preservation of this community and the way we as citizens value our history here is very important, and how it's displayed is very important. The ball fields are important. Renovating that. I address this issue here, and I'm not saying it's not needed, but I am saying that do the best job you can. Present the issue to the citizens in its entirety. Show us that we can afford it. And by showing the council that you can afford it, by basically it's what I'm requesting in this letter here, is tell us what the bond debt is. Now, I have documents I posted on my blog, and the bond debt goes back to 2013 on my blog, and it goes on up to 2014. And I submitted these documents. Now, I'm not saying it's absolutely correct, but it's what I am saying. That's what the documents say. And the documents indicate there's a 83 million total, but of course that's the school, that's the GPC, Goose Pond Colony, and the city of Scottsboro. And then go through those documents and say, okay, there's bond issues 2013, 2014, 2015, take that out, which was done. And the figures you have down here, the results of that addition and subtraction is what I come up with the bond. But Mr. Wheeler is very adapted. He's the financial expert and is excellent at his job. So that's what I'm asking for, is maybe please consider, when you want to go, when you want to put us, the citizens, further in debt, tell us how much it's going to cost us. Tell us how much that debt is. It's not that they don't trust you, we're just asking for, I'm asking for disclosure. And other people feel the same way, so I'll talk to some other people about this. And you're appreciated, and this is not a cut, it's just a suggestion for improvement. A lot of folks come forward and suggest improvements to you or say, hey, you're doing a great job, but I will, and you're appreciated, and whether you like it or not, here I am. If there's any questions, I'm here.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Weaver?
Thank you.
Report, Mayor,
I don't have anything.
Ms. Wansford.
Excuse me, I thought Mayor would say something. I just appreciate everybody coming out tonight. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Mr. Smith.
I don't know.
Mr. Miller.
I don't have anything.
One thing that I was gonna cover is, next week we'll have a council meeting. Then on the 18th is Martin Luther King Day. We won't meet that day. So on the 25th we'll have a work session and a council meeting. So just wanted to verify that.